Hello everybody, and welcome to today's presentation on how you as a parent or carer can support your child's success in the upcoming Challenge Week exams and assessments. My name is Ms Elmi. I'm the Assistant Head and Director of Sixth Form, and this year I'll be leading on Challenge Week exams and interventions. So I'll be going through today with you on the best ways you can support your child's success in their upcoming exams and assessments. We'll be talking a little bit about different strategies you can try at home and how you can help motivate and encourage your child to do the very best. So before I get started, it's really important for me to kind of explain what Challenge Week actually is, especially for our new parents in Year 7 and Year 12. Challenge Week is a 2-week period where pupils complete formal assessments and exams across all subject areas. Pupils are assessed on the knowledge and skills they have developed over the course of their study, and this assessment will inform judgments on how pupils are progressing in their studies. For Year 11 and Year 13 in particular, they will complete mock exams during these periods, and these mock exams will help inform UCAS predictions and or post-16 predictions. So Challenge Week will take place after half term this year. It will be from October 31st to the 12th of November. Now it's really important that every pupil does not miss any days during this period of time, and this is because it will allow staff to be able to make accurate identification of how the pupils are progressing, and if they miss their assessment or exam, it would be really challenging to ensure that they catch up. So if there are any booked appointments, whether it's medical or dental, and it can be rescheduled, please make every effort during these periods to do so. So, what are the expectations of our pupils? Like any formal assessment or exams, we expect all pupils to really take it seriously. It is an important process to help inform how the pupils are progressing and what support can be given. So, students need to be prepared. We expect every child to ensure that they have the relevant equipment, including 2 pens, pencils, rulers and rubbers, and a clear transparent case. This is the expectation in any exams, whether it's real or mock. And so we want to prepare pupils to be ready in those circumstances. These assessments will take place in exam conditions, and so students won't have access to any resources, and so it's really important that they also be mindful of their not having a phone or a smartwatch on them. If that is found to be in use during these assessments and exams, that would mean that child will be disqualified or receive a 0 mark in their papers. So there are many ways as parents and carers you can support your child in the run-up to Challenge Week. It's really important that you talk to them and find out what they would find useful in terms of receiving help. Ensure that they have the correct equipment, and if there are concerns, do get in touch with staff here at Heathcote. At the same time, what we find with a lot of students that they have a lot of motivation right at the beginning, but that motivation weans towards the end. So it's really important as parents and carers that we continue to praise, support and encourage pupils when reserves are low. But most importantly, and what evidence always shows, pupils are most successful when they are within the right conditions to study, revise and apply their learning. So we would encourage parents and carers to think about how pupils' environment will support that. Equally important is also managing pupils' well-being. Now we know that this can be a highly stressful time for some of our pupils, especially some of our older pupils, where a lot of these outcomes from these exams may well result in decisions in their next steps and pathways. So it's really important that we identify the signs and know the ways to help our pupils deal and manage their stress. What we find in a lot of the time that students don't always get a good quality sleep, and this is mainly because they either staying up cramming really late for their exams, or they are worried and unable to sleep. Similarly, some students may have a poor appetite or overeat during this period of time, so it's really important that pupils are able to have a balanced and healthy diet. You might find that your child is more short-tempered, snappy or tired during this period, and in those moments it's really important that they engage in self-care, and you communicate and find out what is causing some of those anxieties. And if you are really concerned about their well-being, there is help. You can contact the school to support and make us aware, so we can put in support within school. But externally, there's also available resources out there for you, like Young Minds and Samaritans. So what are the practical things as parents and carers you can do to support your child in the upcoming challenge week? Well, the first step is to help devise a revision plan for your child. Now, next week we will be publishing the exam timetable for challenge week, and that should give you an idea as to what exams your child will be doing when. So it's really important that the first thing you do once you get that timetable is to work with your child to devise a strategy to revising and preparing for their assessments. And it's really important that it takes into consideration a balance of subjects as well as a balance of supporting their well-being, so they get optimal rest alongside studying. Now, what evidence shows is that for every newly learned information, pupils tend to forget it within the first few days. So it's really important that we devise a revision plan that helps recall that knowledge and skills over time, not just once, but it's spaced out so that they recall that knowledge more than once. So I'm going to go through a little bit about different ways and different strategies that you can work with your child to help them recall that knowledge and ensure that what has been learned is retained for a longer period of time. So one thing that can be done to support pupils retaining that knowledge is to engage in all their senses. Now, what we know is that when students engage in one of the senses, like hearing or seeing, they only retain a certain percentage of what they've heard or saw. Similarly, one of the most ineffective ways of revising or retaining information is just through reading. And what we find with a lot of students is that they feel that their revision by just reading is sufficient to help them retain the knowledge and skills that they need to be successful in any exam or assessment. So I guess a really easy trick is to work with your child to get them to teach you some of that information that they've learned, and to do this in a way where it gets them to discuss the key knowledge that they've gained from each of their topic areas, and also to be able to really retell some of the key facts and information. For Key Stage 3, it could be giving you the definitions of some key terms, and for Key Stage 4, Key Stage 5, it could be explaining key concepts within each of those subject areas. You can also get them to show you how to do certain practical aspects. So if it's a practical subject, you can get them to show you how to perform a particular sport and activity, or it could be that they show you how to solve a problem in maths. So these are really good strategies to start thinking about how you can engage your child to be able to recall and retain some of the knowledge that they've learned over time. Additionally, some of the things to consider is the fact that some of our pupils really struggle to know how to engage in their independent learning and what strategies to use during that time. When they've learnt so many different subjects over a period of time, it could be quite daunting to know where to start and how to start. So what we advise all pupils is to really start with checking what do they understand, okay? And if they don't understand certain themes, topics or subjects, it's really important that they spend some time within their revision plan to learn or relearn some of that content. Once they've done that, once they've acquired that knowledge, it's important then to kind of condense that knowledge into simple chunks. And the best way to do that is to simplify their notes. So for Key Stage 4 and 5, it may be taking notes on a particular topic area and condensing those notes down so that it shows that applies their knowledge in a way that they understand. Once they've done that, it's really important that they practice memorizing those key concepts. Now, there's many strategies that they could use to memorize, whether it's using flashcards or it could be using mnemonics. Whatever strategy they choose, it's really important that they engage with it daily. And here it's about repeating. Repetition is key when it comes to memorization, and most effective repetition happens over time. So if they've revised a particular content and memorized it on day 1, it's really important that they go back on day 6 or day 10 to go back over those questions and see if they can remember it. And then finally, it's about reviewing that content regularly and consistently. So if they've learned a particular aspect in maths in their first set of revision, it's really important that maybe a month later that they go back and review it and test themselves on it. And finally, it's really important that pupils begin to apply that knowledge in a way that will support them to be successful in the exam and the assessment. Whether it's answering exam questions or practice questions that have been given at Key Stage 3, these are really important strategies to help students apply what they have learned and what they have recalled through their revision. So there are many other strategies you could also use to help you help them. Whenever we think about revising and learning new content, it's really important to remember that we are human beings and our brains can only take in so much information at any given time. So what we encourage is pupils to break down information into small chunks and to spend short spaces of time, but consistently spend that time doing the work. So that means ensuring that pupils aren't spending hours and hours trying to learn content, but breaking it down into small time frames. So spending an hour and then taking a break, or 15 to 20 minutes if you're in year 7, and then taking a break. So it's really important that we can support our pupils by ensuring that they plan in appropriate times for break and we hold them accountable to that break. Set timers at home to ensure that they know how long that they've got and how much time that they have for that break so that they don't extend that time more than they should. Another key thing is, for me, I'm a morning person and I like to work best in the morning. But for some students, they may be night owls and they may want to study in the evening. So it's about trying to know what works best for them and capitalising on that. It could be ensuring that most of their study periods works at their optimal learning zone, whether it's in the morning or in the afternoon. But keeping in mind their well-being and ensuring that they get that rest. And then the final thing is, I think we all tend to do this as well as human beings. We avoid the one thing that we really do not want to do, and that is the thing that's going to be the hardest. Often students struggle in certain subjects tend to leave it to the last, and we'd advise them not to do that, and make sure that they actually prioritise that subject that they're struggling the most, because it's going to take a little bit longer for them to be able to master it. Our Key Stage 3 pupils, they would all have a knowledge organiser. Now, a knowledge organiser is essentially a snapshot of what they have learned in each of their subjects for that term. They're really useful in helping students guide their revision, recall some of the key information, and learn and memorise key terms. So a good way to support pupils' use of knowledge organisers is by testing them on some of the key spelling or key definitions, as well as giving them an opportunity to recall some of the content that is put on the knowledge organiser. Some of our pupils like to record their knowledge on their phones and then play it back, and they find that really useful. So knowledge organisers are a really handy way to get a snapshot of what they've learned previously and support them in recalling some of that knowledge. So I do hope you found that useful in helping prepare you over the next few weeks to support your child in the run-up to Challenge Week. Now, we'll be putting all of this in a letter alongside the timetable by the end of next week, so please do look out for that. The timetable should be included, and so students will receive that, and hopefully that will support them planning out their revision over the next few weeks, including over half term. And as always, if you have any questions, do feel free to get in touch with myself, the head of year, former tutor, or the subject teachers directly, and their details can be found in the parent handbook. I would just like to thank you for your time and wish all the students in preparation for the first challenge week the best of luck.